Hello, good evening, and welcome back to THU TV for our last session of today. I'm here with Brahim and Dahlia, who have come from quite far away, from places that don't necessarily have the most well-developed ecosystems for digital art. And what I want to talk to them about is what does it mean to come here to THU and learn from peers and that kind of stuff, but also what does it mean to actually what does that mean to your career and to your education and how to develop as a digital artist? So, Dahlia, what brought you to THU?
First off, it was thanks to social media.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of my friends were sharing their experience at THU with many mentors or knights that I really look up to. And I thought it would be a very great experience for me because I'm in the teaching industry as well. And I thought that it could really help my experience and my contacts as well. So it was a really nice experience.
Yeah, so where are you from?
Lebanon.
Okay. And you teach, what do you teach?
Digital illustration.
Okay. And you work as an illustrator as well?
Yeah, and I freelance as well, 2D illustration and storyboarding.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So who are typically your customers?
For storyboarding, I mostly work for advertising companies, commercials, short animation films sometimes, but mostly it's related about advertising.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. What about yourself?
Yeah, mostly just like she said, like on Facebook, seeing lots of other people that I follow, sharing their posts about how amazing it was at THU and stuff like that. Also, the main thing that I came here for, just to meet the artists that inspire me, the big guys, just to meet them face to face, and because most of the time I just see them on a screen,
right.
So when you meet them and you see them like just as a normal human being and you have a normal conversation with them, that means a lot. Just way more than a tutorial that you can watch on your computer.
Where are you from?
I'm from Algeria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who have you been most excited about seeing here?
Ian McCaig.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, he's a big inspiration. I'm very honored. I just got a photo with him like a few hours ago. So
exciting.
Yeah.
And you're basically putting the photos on Facebook, and then other people go, "Damn it, my turn to go to THU."
Yeah. I'm just showing off myself, like for every awesome artist that I meet.
That is amazing. So what kind of work do you do?
I do 2D concept arts, mostly character design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of that going on in Algeria?
Not that much. Yeah. No. Very few people. I probably just know less than 5 people that does it. Yeah. So the community is very small.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, to get any better and to kind of keep developing as an artist, you can't just do that in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You have to have. So where do you find your community, other than getting on an airplane and coming to Portugal?
Yeah, on the internet. Just on the internet, like on many places where people share their art, on ArtStation, Facebook, all the art stuff, like all, and I prefer video games. I play a lot of video games. So after playing, I check out the artists who came up with the stuff that I enjoy.
Right.
So by following them, you meet other artists. So it goes on and on.
So, but the commercial work you do, if it isn't for local companies, who do you work for?
Yeah, abroad, Europe, US mostly. Yeah,
but how do you find them, or how do they find you?
Just by posting my work. Just by posting my work, meeting the artists who work in those companies.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And people go, "Holy damn, this guy is good. We gotta hire him."
I hope so. I hope they say that.
Well, if you have work, then obviously it's working, right?
Yeah.
And what about yourself? Where do your customers come from?
From local, usually local. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, what kind of so for storyboarding and stuff and advertising and that kind of stuff. So you're working with local studios doing adverts for.
Yes, advertisements for almost any product
Okay.
they want to introduce to the market.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so so how do you actually build up a name for yourself in that space? I guess it helps if you're teaching because people see you see you doing that. But
You mean locally? Like, well, first of all, yes, teaching really helped me a lot. I gained so many contacts. And next, it was by word of mouth through advertising. For example, I worked for one client before that, and then this client actually told another person about my work, and then it went so on and so on.
right.
And soon I was known back in my country that I am a storyboard artist. So I was pretty much approached by lots of local clients.
That's awesome. Is that something that you think is replicable? So could you teach somebody how to do that? Or do you think there was some luck or some magic involved?
I wouldn't say luck. Like, luck would be about 1% of the entire journey that I faced.
Awesome.
I mean, I've worked really hard, super hard, many, many hours of working and practicing and just grinding down. Sometimes I just did so many sacrifices instead of my social life. Instead I was practicing and working harder. I presume luck was the thing that I actually met my first client through my teacher when I was still studying. So I guess this is considered luck in a way, but I still won't count on luck. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful, and I think it's probably completely true. I think my entire career has been 90% luck, just because, you try lots of things, and some things don't work, some things do work. But the only way you can kind of, if 10% of things work out, then the only way to be successful is to do 100,000 things, right? And some of them will work, and some of them don't, and it's a really interesting challenge for making magic happen. And I think everybody knows, and everybody who's sat where you're sitting now is saying, look, it's a really difficult industry to be in. Even if you're becoming well known, and even if people come to you, you're very much at the mercy of the people hiring you and the people who are willing to take a chance on you and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Which I think is, I think it's a really brave position to be in, to kind of try and build a company or build a name for yourself around what is essentially an artistic and creative endeavor. It's super scary. So you mentioned most of your customers are from further afield and that you find them through essentially pitching or...
Yeah, just showing yourself, your work on the internet. Yeah, step by step, you start gaining followers, and by that you get clients. Yeah.
So how long does that take? So say if you have somebody you're mentoring who says, I'm a pretty good artist, and you look at their work and you're like, well, actually, yes, you're pretty good. How long does it take to get from there to actually being able to make a living of art?
Well, it depends on the quality of your works. If you're really good, like less than a year,
Right.
yeah. But if most people, even including me, you need to work on your stuff. You need to increase your skill. So it depends. For me, it took me. I started in 2014. I got my first tablets and started drawing. So I got my first job in my second year. So it depends on your skills. Also, it depends on your internet skills, on how much you show your stuff and
Right.
and your
On
interactions.
the marketing side.
Yeah, your marketing. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Awesome. So in Lebanon, do you feel like the training? Sorry, wrong country.
Algeria.
In Algeria. Do you feel like there is enough availability for people to help you train and learn, or do you have to look further afield for that as well?
Well, we have universities you can learn art, but you don't have to. Like I didn't go to art school. If you have internet, a computer, that's all you need. You can watch, even if you don't have money, you can watch free videos on YouTube and stuff like that and learn. That's
Right.
how I did it.
Do you do that as well? So do you like make videos showing how you do certain things, or to try and contribute back?
I did it like twice. I showed my work process, but I'm too lazy. But I need
Fair
to
enough.
do that. Yeah.
Have you tried that? Does that work as a good tool for finding or teaching? I mean, you're teaching anyway, I suppose, which is
Well, before I was teaching, I was very much into doing tutorials and doing videos, because in Lebanon, back about 6 years ago, the digital art scene was not that much wide and popular. And I discovered it by accident through some websites, and I thought, oh, I want to do that. And what is this? And then I started to learn, oh, that's called digital art. It's done with a tablet. So I got my first tablet as well, and I started. And I wasn't good back then, like 6 years ago. But I already did tutorials, because many people in Lebanon were like, so what do you do exactly? I'm like,
You're
I'm
like,
a digital
here's
artist.
the link
so
to YouTube.
like, you do oil paintings and you sell them? Like, no, it's digital. It's something on the computer. And I wanted to actually explain to people what it actually is. So I started to do tutorials. I did many live streams, some YouTube videos as well. It really helped kickstart my teaching career, because right now, like, I started teaching only like 3 years ago. It really gave me a motivation and drive, because I felt that this is what I'm going to do. I want to spread this message. I want to make people, like the younger generation, know more about digital art, know more about the entertainment industry. How does it work? The backstage of everything that goes on that people do not know. So yeah, I found that very motivational for what I do right now.
That's amazing. So what do you think is the biggest challenge in what you're doing?
As in teaching,
Sure.
trying to give my students passion, because passion can't be taught. Passion is something innate, something that comes from inside your heart. So that couldn't be taught easily. The most difficult, challenging thing I found was actually to have some students love what they do. Because if you don't love what you do, you can just consider it as a very general course, and just
Sure.
pass it and just graduate.
But I feel like art is one of those things where you do have to love it. If you don't, there isn't enough motivation there to drive you through it, right?
You can't even develop your own work. Like, you're just stuck in your same place forever. If it's not for passion, which I really stress on it every single day in class, like, try to love it, try to have passion for it, because if you love it, you're gonna go somewhere, and if you work hard as well, you will. So I find that interesting.
Also, people always, not all people, some people try to find the easier route. And people also obviously have need to have a living of art. So some of them think that art is an easy job to do. So
You just sit around and paint, right? It must
Yeah.
be way easy.
yeah, easy. Yeah, so
Just chill all day.
yeah, they might go into art thinking that I'm
Yeah,
just
like
gonna
cups
do
of
this.
tea, drawing. It's easy.
Yeah, without knowing that you need to love it to put in the time. Yeah.
Well, I love what you hinted to earlier, which is that one of the components to your success wasn't actually the art itself, but your ability to market the art.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught the tail end of our previous chat, but there is a lot of kind of crossover between skill sets you need as an entrepreneur. And honestly, if you're an artist, you are an entrepreneur. You have to be.
Yeah.
Because either you're a freelancer or you're part of a studio or you're trying to get something done. There is some real magic that needs to happen there, and you need to get your name out there. So in addition to like marketing, can you think of any other skills that you've learned along the way that have been useful, either of you?
For what?
For being successful, I guess. I spoke to somebody earlier who was mentioning that he was actually very, very good at not necessarily the marketing things, but at the financial side of things. So actually negotiating with his customers and negotiating, like getting slowly higher wages and being able to command more money as his stature in the industry goes up and that kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to be a freelancer myself, and I was trapped for a very long time. I had customers for years, and the problem with that is that, you know, they were used to me charging $100.
Yeah.
And so 3 years later, I'm like, oh, everybody else is paying $400, you're paying 100. How do you change that, right? And I was very awkward about that, and I never raised my prices because I was like, oh, it feels
Yeah,
weird.
it's very hard, yeah.
And that guy was like, no, if you charge somebody 300, charge them 300. And if they say no, that is the best thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Because what you do is you say, okay, well, thank you, it's been lovely working with you. I'm going to go find a client who will pay me 300,
Yeah.
right? And if you have that kind of level of, I guess there's definitely some self-confidence in there.
Yeah.
But if you have that confidence in your own work and then confidence in your own ability to deliver what you're doing, I guess that's the kind of thing I mean.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a freelancer, people are approaching you all the time. So if you're, like you said, if you're working with someone who's paying you like $100, if you get another person asking you for a job who wants to pay you $500, so it makes sense to let renegotiate with the other guy. So yeah, you have to do that.
I think the other big scary thing for me when I was working as a freelancer is that there's sometimes you're super busy and you're working your balls off to get
Yeah.
something out the door, and it's super exciting and you're making a lot of money, but because you're working so hard, you're not really working on selling and marketing. And so suddenly when you finish the job, there's like, oh, my calendar is empty for the next 3 months.
Yeah, it's kind of,
And it's one of those really weird things where it's like, oh, and then you panic and you go in full-on sales and marketing mode, and then you get a whole load of new customers, and suddenly you're super busy again.
yeah.
And you know, you're working like that. It's like 3 weeks of insane work and then 2 weeks of unemployment and 3 weeks of insane work. I wonder, have you figured out how to even that out a little bit? How to manage your time? Or is that...
No.
Nope.
I didn't figure that out, but I
It is
don't know.
hard.
Yeah, I don't know if you can figure that out, like, because it depends on who you are.
Sure.
Like, for me, like, I'm not super successful, so sometimes you have highs, sometimes you have lows, so you have to adapt. But for the guys who are very successful, they know for sure that they will be getting jobs all the time.
Right.
So it's easier for them to manage it and equal the things out. Yeah.
Is that your experience as well?
Time management, what I learned from experience, is a skill that you can learn. I mean, back when I was freelancing about like 4 to 5 years ago, I was swamped with projects, and as you said, like sometimes you have so many projects and then suddenly you have nothing, no projects ever, and then suddenly you have like 5 projects at the same time. I was really having difficulty with managing my time and trying to balance my work with my health. It wasn't until lately that I learned the skill, and I'm starting to develop this
So
right
was
now.
there like a technique, or was there a... How did you actually get around to that? Because I want to learn that.
Well, I knew I have to get around to that because lately, like a few years back, I had some health issues because I was working very hard. So I decided that my health is more important, because if I don't have my health, I won't be able to create art, to create new art. So I'll just be stuck in place. So I thought I needed to time manage. So, for example, like one company approaches me a project, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this project. And then another company with another project, I'm like, can you extend the deadline, for example, like
Right.
for another week or a month? If it's negotiable, then it's fine, then it worked for me. If it's not, then I cancel the job, because I'm not willing to work this much in charge of my health. So,
But the thing you mentioned there takes a very brave freelancer, because saying no to money when you
yeah,
don't know when
yeah.
the next job is coming, right?
Exactly.
That is really scary. And I think that comes with kind of the thing I was talking about, the marketing piece earlier, right? It comes with self-confidence. It comes with the ability to actually go, you know what? no, I can work a little bit, and if I'm without work for 2 or 3 days, I'm just going to embrace that. Maybe I'll go to the beach, or maybe I'll actually spend some time on myself, or hang out with friends for a bit, and then go, right, well, and see if you can actually equalize out that pipeline a little bit.
Actually, it's more about priorities as well. Like, you have to set your priorities. Is your priority to gain money, or is your priority to actually stay healthy so you can work on personal things, like personal artwork, so you can improve? My priority, in my personal opinion, came that I should work more on developing my own personal skill. At the same time, of course, like accepting freelance jobs and whatever, but I didn't want to take that away from my personal artwork time.
Right.
Because this was equally as important to me than my job. Because if it wasn't for this kind of schedule that I worked with, I wouldn't be teaching right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
And so those opportunities come from, I guess, designing the future you want rather than
Yes. Yeah.
luck, as
Yeah.
I called it earlier, or actively or taking an active part in deciding,
Yeah.
this is important to me. This is how I want to do that.
Actually, I really want to change the art society back home. And I'm really happy lately because the new generation, for example, I'm finding out that the art scene is expanding. Like, so many students approach to me, even from other universities, not just the university I teach in. And we're like, we know your work, you do this and you do that. And I was like, I'm very super happy and super flattered. So they start to ask me what tablet they should buy, how they should start. And I'm there just giving them these small like guidelines or points. And then they go back home, they get all these stuff and start working, and they show me, they send me through Facebook or email, and I give them feedback. It just makes me super happy that I'm doing what I was aiming for, to make Lebanon more into the art scene, make
Right.
it more, to be more aware internationally as well.
That's an amazing thing to actually be able to have an influence on. That's a really exciting thing to be able to be part of, I think.
Yes.
So what would your top advice be for somebody who is where you were 6 months ago, or 6 years ago, I mean, and is has picked up a tablet, is really excited about doing digital art? What do you do next? What is the single most important thing to focus on?
Well, I wouldn't say hard work because it's very cliche, because obviously they have to work very hard.
Sure.
But the most important thing that I always stress on is just really love what you do. Because if you love what you do, then you can accept the failures that you have.
Right.
If you don't love what you do and you fail in a project, and you're like,
It becomes very personal, doesn't it? It becomes very kind of...
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to continue it. I'm just going to leave it, and then you quit, for example, or whatever. But if you love it, you consider failure as part of your journey. You're failing. Okay, I know I am failing. So my mistakes are this, this, and this. So I improve them, because this is what loving what you do gets you.
Absolutely. What about yourself? What's your top magic tip?
Yeah, for me, I think it's the hardest thing is to find what you love, because most people don't do that. Most people just think about what other people want, or what's the community around them wants, and do that. But if you find what you really like and fight for it, no matter how much people find you weird or strange. Also, you have.
Let's be honest. There's no getting around that anyway.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Also, you have to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
Because people usually don't want to do that. If you make sacrifices, do what you love. If you really love it, you're gonna work hard anyway, and by doing that, you will meet people who are looking forward to achieve the things that you want. And that's it, like just step by step, you'll find yourself surrounded with people like you, and hopefully you achieve your dreams. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I think we're out of time. Brahim and Dahlia, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.